I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money.
Welcome to I Look Good Naked podcast with Terri J. Vaughn
and Cas Seeger's Beatles.
Yay! We are actually recording this podcast, our first time recording it live with a live audience.
Yes.
A live studio audience. Well, we're not really in a studio. We're actually in a ballroom.
We're in a ballroom.
At
North
the
Highland
Highland Inn. The Highland Inn in their ballroom. And it is in the midst of the Atlanta Film Festival.
Yes.
And we've gotten to look at a few film shorts today. And it was fun.
It
was really good.
The Thriller was fun. The Young Guys, the documentary.
That Thriller was crazy. It was
crazy.
creepy.
It was creepy.
It was good.
It's
That's
supposed
good.
to be creepy. Right?
Do you remember the name of it?
I do not. And I remember seeing it. I remember the cover with the funny face on the front, and then the title was in red, and I can't remember, but it was Justified.
Thank you. Yes.
Justified.
And we screened our film short, The Lion's Crumbs.
Starring Terri J. Vaughn and Karan Joseph Riley.
It was really funny. And Avery Sunshine and Rod Minger and Denise Armstrong. It was super funny. So if you guys weren't here to see it, you missed it. To you. Yeah. I hear you, Eugene.
That's funny. And we want to thank the mayor's office.
Yep.
The mayor's office of entertainment for those who can see the video.
Wait, you guys changed your name. Didn't it used to be the mayor's office of film and entertainment?
It still is?
It still is?
Oh, okay.
Well, you guys need to get a new sign. That sign is
that an old sign?
Tiffany Watson is really getting really defensive about
right, because you know how she is with her banners and her red carpets
sign.
And her.
You're gonna have to get on it, sister.
I should call you Step and Repeat. All those things, events you used to hold, and you would be so serious about the Step and Repeat. And I need your logos, guys, and I need IG files.
And if you're that anal, then this sign should have film and entertainment on it. Is all I'm
Watson,
saying.
We're calling you out, but thank you for the mayor's office.
We love
for
you very much.
This today.
Yeah.
And we are going to talk about, we got to do our whole system.
So every episode, Cas does a quote of the day.
Yes.
So what is your quote of the day, Cas?
My quote is from Ray Kroc, and it is press.
You can tell the people who Ray Kroc is.
Ray Kroc is the founder of McDonald's, where he took the one McDonald's to the billion McDonald's that there are all over the world. And the quote is, press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Yeah. So
I want you to say it again, and then we give the people a moment to take it in. So say it one more time, Cassandra.
Press on.
No, not like that.
I will say it like that.
With a bold voice so people can hear you.
Press on. Press on is such a... Never mind. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence.
All right, and that is the quote of the day.
Yeah.
Yes, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence, and that is right. And since we're at a film festival and we're celebrating independent filmmakers, that is the one thing that filmmakers, y'all all know, you have to press on. You have to be persistent because the only way that you can fail is to stop.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay, and I have my woman from history to highlight, Mary Church Terrell. I don't know why I chose her. I just like her picture. She's in this little nice dress sitting on a throne, looks like. So I chose her today. Mary Church Terrell. She was born September 23rd, 1863, and she died July 24th, 1954. She is an educator and an activist for both civil rights and women's rights. One of the first African-American women to earn a college degree. Terrell's parents were both former slaves who used their freedom to become small business owners in Memphis and encouraged their daughter to get an education. Married Robert Herberton Terrell an attorney who would eventually become Washington, D.C.'s first black judge and encourage his wife to become involved with women's rights. She co-founded the National Association of Colored Women in 1896 as a way to get African American women involved in winning the right to vote. She took on Jim Crow laws in the South and helped desegregate. Sorry, I really need my glasses. I don't even know why I'm tripping. She took on Jim Crow laws in the South and helped desegregate restaurants in Washington, D.C. during the 1950s. Boom. That is Mary Church Terrell. See, on this podcast, we try to teach you a little bit of something, too. We're not just on here just talking shit for nothing. We also try to just drop, some little Jews of knowledge. Because who's going to go look up Mary Church Terrell and, you would never do that, right? So now you know if someone said in passing conversation.
Because that would happen.
Have you ever heard of Mary Church Terrell? You would be like, yes, I did.
Right.
And you wouldn't
She's
be
my
lying.
great-great-grandmama.
Yeah.
It could happen.
That's what we do on I Look Good Naked podcast. So today, since we're here at the Atlanta Film Festival.
And we are Nina Holiday Entertainment, by the way.
Oh,
we are filmmakers.
We are
filmmakers. We aren't just two black girls on stage with microphones.
We are not just two black girls on stage. Well, actually, we
are
are two black girls on stage with two microphones. We actually are, but we're more
much
than
more.
that.
We're much more.
We're that, and we're filmmakers, and we have a production company here based in Atlanta called Nina Holiday Entertainment. And we make movies, we make TVs. We make TVs. We make TV shows. We don't actually make TVs. Don't come looking for us.
That's our side hustle.
Yeah,
we make movies and then we sell you TVs to play your movies on.
No, so we do. We make film and TV shows, and we've been doing it for a long time.
Over a decade. 12 years, 13 years.
12, 13 years.
Of course, Terry started in acting, and she's played
I feel like you should move your mic up
memorable
closer.
I feel like it's popping, like that. That's why. That's why I wasn't doing that.
All right. She needs to get a little more professional on her mic.
My mic is very professional.
Okay.
But we're not having that kind of conversation.
We are not having that conversation.
Anyway.
You got to be careful with this one.
Yeah, you got to be real careful.
Oh, my God.
It's all adults in the room. Anyway, see, now my train of thought is going straight to that. I can't even focus.
My wicked plan worked, so I'm going to throw her off her game. Yeah.
What was I talking about?
No, we were just talking about Nina Holiday and what we do.
Yes, we do. We make film and television. We have done about 12, 13 television movies, a television show, and an independent film called Digital Lives Matter that we shot, produced, funded, everything in Atlanta, starring all Atlanta artists. It literally from top to bottom was Atlanta. We were very, very proud of that. It aired last fall on BET. And we just wrapped on a Christmas movie called Merry Wishmas. And it is with David and Tamela Mann, and Terry J. Vaughn directed it. It will be out in December on TV One.
Yes.
So we're working.
We are working.
But in the process, we're doing a podcast because we're always cutting up and laughing and joking, and it was suggested that we should share that craziness with the world, and so we decided to do that.
Yep. And we have an amazing team.
We do.
I feel like we never talk. Have we ever talked about our team?
Melissa's supposed to be actually on stage with us.
Yeah, Melissa, you're supposed to be on stage. I'll bring her on.
Sound.
Yeah, I'll bring her up here in a second. We're not ready for her yet.
Okay.
You stay there. You stay down there. We're very bossy broads too, as you can see. But we have a great was that funny?
That was Ray.
That we're bossy
that
broads?
Was Ray. That was Ray.
Okay. We have a really great team because we like she said, we're always trying to do more, grow. And I'm going to point out my team, and the first person I'm going to point out today is David Robinson, because I forgot to introduce his ass earlier, and he gave me the side eye so tough. I thought I was stabbed in my stomach with a pitchfork or something. But David Robinson, he does our PR and helps us to get our brand out there, helps us to promote anything that we're doing. And so thank you. And then we have Linda here, who's another independent filmmaker. You see our whole team, they're right here in front of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Marin, we have Melissa.
We've got Donna.
Jessica's
Donna's
over
here,
there.
too.
Donna.
She did this
Donna, who
picture.
actually did this picture for us, who took pictures of
She's
us
our
in the
photographer.
nude. Hey! So many people offered to take our nude pictures for us. And I was like, there's only one person that I want to see me nude and take a picture of it, and it's Donna. And so Donna did it. And we took pictures in the nude in her studio.
Why do you make it sound so?
I don't know, because it was so corny.
We were cold.
We were
We were
cold. Like, hurry up, Donna. It's cold. This chair is sticky on my butt.
Yep.
So anyway, and AJ Joyner, who
Yes.
actually helps us to produce this podcast,
Yes.
He actually forced us. He forced us. You promised us a lot of money.
Yeah.
If we did this, you said that if we did this podcast,
Yeah, you did.
that we would start making money.
Raking it in.
And that shit has not happened. It has not happened at all. We haven't had one sponsor. I mean, what the fuck is up, AJ? So,
You gotta keep going.
Anyway,
Persistence.
so we'll keep
Going
going.
back to my quote. Press on.
Press on.
Press
so
on.
we're being
There we go.
persistent. So we're in a room full of
Independent
independent filmmakers, which is
And
a
this is a
great
Q&A.
thing. And this is a Q&A moment. It's for us to share. Melissa, we should bring you up here. Melissa Young is a young film producer. Well, I don't know how young she is, but I just wanted to say that because her
Here,
last
get
name was
that.
Young.
It's that little.
And
She is a writer director. She is an editor. She's a producer. She studied with you. What did you do with Spike Lee? You studied under Spike Lee, right? She studied under Spike Lee. And we're just awesome and blessed to have her here with us, like helping and being a part of Nina Holiday. And so, Melissa. Hey, y'all.
And AJ keeps trying to steal her.
He
Keep
does.
your hands off
Indiana.
of Melissa. Indiana
Indiana.
Jones.
This is not part of your adventure.
No, she's not joining your team. She's staying with us. So, Melissa, tell us about your passion or your the journey through independent filmmaking.
Well, shall I start from the beginning?
No, not really. Ain't nobody got that time to time.
It all started when I was 10. No, really. I picked up my first camera when I was 10. My mom bought it for me at a yard sale. I started writing and forcing my other 9 siblings to be in my scripts.
Dang,
And
your mama had a lot of kids.
She did. And I just knew what I wanted to do. You know, I went to Howard for undergrad, and I studied film directing with a concentration in cinematography, and then went on to NYU on a full fellowship. So don't let them fool you. They give you money to come. They do. And studied film directing there, studied under Spike Lee, and that was amazing, getting a chance to see him, you know, direct and do what he does and the way that he does it. And started making films there. Was just thrown into it, and you know, by the time I got out of there, I had made quite a few shorts and, you know, did some festival rounds and just continued to be independent even after that.
So what landed you in Atlanta?
Music. Music landed me in Atlanta. I took a break from film to be a recording artist and put out some music, and yeah. And now I'm back doing film and music at the same time.
That's right. Okay, so as an independent filmmaker, what would you say is if you have to give 3 keys to being a successful independent filmmaker, what would you say that is?
I think persistence is key. I also think being able to stay true to your idea that you have when you first decide, I'm going to make this movie. And then for me, I think what's really big is there is a difference between independent filmmaking and, I for lack of a better word, commercial filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And having the opportunity to work as a producer on projects that have large budgets, way larger than as an independent filmmaker you get to see. One of the things that I found is trying to harness that, what I call the student mentality again, where we made projects for next to nothing, but people would look at the projects and say, oh my God, you must have had a big budget. And it's like, no, we had no money, but we knew where to put our resources and what was important to get the story and the image at the front and the forefront of everything else. And I think, like, sometimes I see, budgets and it's all gone before you get to below the line. And so trying to stay in that mindset to where you gotta save funds for below the line, because below the line is where the project is made in its best form. So that's the biggest thing as an independent filmmaker, understanding, where to put the little bit of money that you do have to make your project successful.
So actually, Melissa and I, where I dragged her from, where I saved her from.
Yes.
We were working on an independent film project.
Yes, we were, and we learned a lot.
That I was hired to direct, and yeah, so yeah, so there was this. It was a first-time producer,
yes.
And he had a budget, so he said, and one of his biggest mistakes was that he started making the movie without having all his money.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest no-no that you can do, is to start making it and you don't have all your money. And he said that he had these investors that were, gonna give him the money, and it was gonna trickle down into 3 or 4 payments throughout the filming. And there's nothing wrong with having the pull down, but you have to have all that money in an account. And you have to, your funders, if they're funding your project, they should put that money up. And it should be in some kind of account, escrow account or something, yes, where you can pull from as you need it. And he was swearing that his investors were just going to give the money at, every 2 months or whatever as he needed. And I was like, well, that's not going to work. It's like, how can you start? And he did. He ended up starting the project. I walked away from it. Poor Melissa stayed with it.
I tried.
She did.
I tried.
She did. And but ended up walking away too.
Rescued me.
And then the project just stopped and it went away. And a lot of people did a lot of hard work and were never paid.
Can I tell a little bit more detail?
Yeah, I was trying not to get too detailed because I'm not trying to. Okay, but go ahead.
Well, what had really happened was because this is important. We'd put together hardworking people and a crew, and they were expecting to get paid the money that they negotiated in their deals. And what ended up happening is they shot for a week, flew out actors, all these things that shouldn't have been done on an independent film. Like, if you only have $100,000, get local talent. There's so many talented local artists out here that you don't go to Hollywood with $100,000 trying to get 3 known names. It's just not possible. So don't do that. And then the crew, literally, when they realized that he didn't have money to pay them at payroll time, they took the footage. Yeah. And
it's theirs.
It's theirs.
Yeah.
So they took the footage. And so that's what we don't do. Don't do that ever. Raise your money beforehand. I will say I started a short I was about $20,000 short, but I had been granted a grant, and I knew that the grant was on its way. So I started before that, but don't do the other way.
Honesty is really key. Yeah. I think with independent filmmakers, and I get it. We all dream. You dream big. You get, and sometimes, unfortunately, investors that hype you up, and you think it's all good and it's all coming together. But just being honest is so important, because you cannot make independent films without a community. Like, you just cannot. You have to ask favors in the independent film community. The reason why I think we've had a lot of our success is because we've shot projects with budgets and we've shot projects without budgets. And we take care of our community. When we have the money, it's like, oh, okay, this is your budget. Like, I actually have a budget. for this one, but know that I'm going to call you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I may not have a budget for that one. But you have to be honest, because what you'll find is as a producer, if you're honest and people know your intentions and people know you represent good work, they will come and work for you. When you get your team will be down for you, but you have to have your team in order to be able to produce a quality project. And that's where I think the honesty is very, very key.
I agree 100%.
And you burn bridges if you don't. And this particular producer, I didn't even tell you this, he hit me up probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he sent me a text saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry that things got off to a bad start, and I'm gonna make good on everything and start paying people your money, but I don't want to have bad blood with you." I was like, "What?" I mean, I didn't reply, of course, but it's like, it's done. It's already done. It's over. I would never, ever return your call, ever. And if anybody ever asks me about you, I'm going to say, do not work with him. Do not.
Yeah, this same filmmaker had someone call me for a reference.
Oh, yeah. See, it's just crazy. You can't do that in this world of independent filmmaking because we need each other. We count on each other. And we should. It's like a family. Yeah. It's like we're all out here like putting our hearts and souls into these projects, and we want to show up for each other, but we have to be able to trust each other. And he'll never make a movie not here. Because if y'all ever call me no more negative energy.
We're gonna, if anybody has any questions, I think we can kind of start there. In this room of filmmakers, does anybody have any questions? Anything that we want to discuss and talk about right here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We'll repeat. What inspired what film?
Oh, well, we're doing our live podcast, but we've done a bunch of films. But this film is not a film. I Look Good Naked.
He's like, what inspired I Look Good Naked? No.
Being girls. No, but no, what inspired our podcast was again, Terri and I have, I've got over 20 years in the business. Terri has over 20 years in the business, and we do have a lot of knowledge. But a lot of people who do know us, we don't talk about what we've done and our past and our journey because we're so pressed with like moving forward and working. So it was suggested that we do a podcast. We talk about making films. We talk about being filmmakers, being women, being moms, being all the things that we are. And so that was the inspiration for the podcast. I Look Good Naked would be a dope film. What would that film be about?
What would the film be about, sir? Gotcha. So a movie about body consciousness, about women.
Objectification of women.
Yeah, and yes.
That actually would be. It would be a dope documentary. Yeah. All right.
Yes.
You're a filmmaker? Yes. Okay. What kind of films do you like to do?
Well, right now I'm working on a film that's called
The Pole. He's working on a film called The Pole, so we get him a microphone. Go ahead.
Are we talking the North Pole? South Pole?
We're talking about the Strokers Pole.
Yeah, stripper pole.
The stripper pole.
Here, come here.
Yeah, come here.
Use this.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Savon Zell. I'm a producer and a writer and a student at this point in this community of film in Atlanta, coming from Florida. Okay.
You're in our podcast now. You're in our movie now. You're in our movie now.
Okay. So my question came from me being in a world where I see a lot of women that deal with different issues, whether they're getting surgery done, they're dealing with issues of being discriminated against because they don't look a certain kind of way, they're being objectified for money because this is what they do for a living. And then you have a lot of people in this industry that look at them that don't really know their stories for real. You know, so I wanted to find a way to have this type of dialogue in my film where I would have women talk about these things that I'm so close to because I live in this world,
right,
in the management of clubs and things of that nature. So, you know, I came up with this concept because I looked at the pole from a different perspective because I had a young woman who was 16 years old and her mother danced, and she said that's just what her dream was. But when she went to school, her friends said that's not the dream to have, to be no dancer. So she was in the world of, oh,
She looked up to her mom. That's
Right.
That's what we do
Right.
as little young girls.
So then the pole is like, what the pole? That's like, okay. I said, well, I want to come to Atlanta because that's like at the heart of one of the cultures here in Atlanta. And but I want to talk from a different perspective about it. And so when I seen it, I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what these sisters are talking about with their bodies being naked. Okay, I wonder if they're speaking about these things that I have these questions about.
Gotcha.
And then being from a male perspective, in a women's empowerment world, you have to be careful with how you do certain things like that. You have to. And so I'm like, okay, I need to have that type of help.
So is your film a documentary or is it a scripted movie?
That's what I'm still working on because it's still in development, and to do it a certain kind of way, you got to have that type of.
Okay. Well, I think it's definitely a topic that is worth delving into. There's, of course, it's a issue or a problem or a concern that we do deal with in this society.
Okay.
So, I definitely think it's a great topic. And you should, but you need to decide if it's going to be a documentary or if you're going to get a writer to write a screenplay about it. But as an independent filmmaker, that's, it's your choice. It's like you start the journey. But yeah, I Look Good Naked is about empowering ourselves, but being naked as in authentic to who we are, not afraid, not wearing any mask. We're going to tell you how we feel without trying to water it down. And we invite other people to do the same. So that's what I Look Good Naked podcast does. But thank you so much. Yep, and good luck on your project. Were there any other questions in the house? Back, right there. And then over there with the Adidas sweatshirt. Okay, so Foxy Brown with the afro rocking.
Hey,
beautiful. Hey, lady.
You guys are dope. I follow you on IG, so I love the Black Girl Magic.
Thank you so much.
I am a new transplant. I'm originally from Harlem, New York. I've been here for 2 years.
Yay.
I decided at 49 years old that I was going to do what I wanted to do. And I've always wanted to be a creative. So I just completed my first screenplay.
Okay.
And I don't have time for the fugazi. You understand?
I love that word.
So
It goes with your hair.
Thank you.
Fugazi,
Right.
New York all day.
Yeah, so I noticed that we have this thing with sensationalism. I don't understand why this room is not packed. Everybody knows you guys got time in the game. But because you're not the hottest thing, so they think they won't draw nigh unto you. So I'm running into a lot of bullshit in Atlanta.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So my question, which I have 1,000, but just one, how do you stay true to what you know is going to work? Because when you do the work, you know what's going to work.
Right.
How do you guys stay true?
That's funny. That's a good question because we're asked that often. Terri and I came together 12, 13, like I said, years ago, and we had a mission. It was very divine. We were not producers at the time. We met on set when she took my first novel and wanted to turn it into a television show. So we both know our divine mission was to create content especially for women in color because it was something that we weren't seeing. When you know your mission is divine, when you know that that's what you're supposed to do, the bullshit doesn't really matter. Like, you still run into it. Like, we run into it. And on every level, fame or no fame, you're still going to run into it. So we always tell people it's such a faith walk. Beyond being an independent filmmaker, being a creative is such a faith walk because people don't get it. They think you're crazy. I went to school for something completely different. I know people in our business that have jobs that are, masters and doctors and whatever. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to be a comedian. Oh, I'm going to be this. And everybody tells you you're nuts. Your parents tell you you're nuts. Then people stop supporting you. But you really have to have tunnel vision, find your family, and then that's that's who you build your empire with, your family. Your family is not necessarily your mom, your dad, your friends, or whatever. And in Atlanta, it can be tricky. There's a lot of transplants here. Anywhere you go, people go towards the hype, the glitter. That's our business. People want to be where the shine is, but what they don't understand is how long does it take to make a diamond? You know what I mean? Like, it's not like diamonds are just like everywhere. So we've always been in the grind. And I think, again, when you put your head to the grind and you're not like always at the hottest party, you're not always at this. People who are at the hottest party, your ass should be working. They're not working. People want to know why they don't see us, because we're always working. So you can't get caught up in that. Like, I saw you started to get emotional. Like, you know what at 49, you're like, fuck this, I'm getting ready to do what I'm supposed to do. Then that's what you have to wake up with every single day and go to bed with every single night and not worry about it. You just can't. You can't.
Yeah, what she said. Yeah, because I'll start crying if I say too much, because I feel you, sister, and I'm so with you, and I am so rooting for you. But yeah, you gotta. It's a faith walk. It's divine, and it's daily. It's a daily faith walk. You have to. Some days you feel great and you feel high, and you feel like you can conquer the world. And some days you feel like you ain't shit and you can't do it, and it's never gonna happen. And I mean, that still happens. We still have those days, but the mission. Yeah, I just sent her a text this morning, as a matter of fact. But the mission and the purpose that's in your spirit of why those tears are coming to your eyes, that's what keeps you going. It's like, fuck this, fuck them, because they're not gonna get it, and they do want to be with the hottest whatever. But good for them. Let them do that, because if you stay the course and stay the grind, you will find where your base is. You will find who your fans are. You got to stay true to you, because your story has to be told. He gave it to you. He gave it to you for you to tell it.
And nobody else can tell it. Nobody else can tell your story. A lot of times people come to me and they ask me, they're like, as a writer, they're like, how do you protect your work, Cass? You know, you just pitch your work and you just tell people that. And I do sometimes willingly pitch. We've had things that were stolen, but what I try to tell people all the time is I can tell you a story. I can tell everybody in this room a story. Everybody's going to write it differently, and nobody writes like Cass. Period. Nobody writes like you. So that's what you have to hold on to. You know what I mean? Nobody has your story but you. Nobody can do whatever it is that you do but you. So nothing else really matters. Yeah. Question, Adita?
And I just don't want you to. Don't compare yourself or be concerned about what everybody else is doing. Just stay focused in your zone. Be on your grind. Stay focused. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. We have another question from the audience here.
What up,
Hi,
Terri? What's up,
Lauren.
Cas? How you guys doing? Love you guys. So I believe that our cultural or our creative ideas are like the most valuable form of cultural currency, especially going forward. And our ability to execute those ideas now makes us able to actually profit from them better. So like, I saw that Instagram post where it was like, Lavita Alzay walked so Tiffany could run, that kind of thing. And it's that's a cultural impact, right? And so my thesis is that now I think we have a better opportunity to be paid as individuals from that than we did in the past. So can you talk about like maybe some of the earlier movies that you worked on where you had something that you really believed in, but as far as the marketing of it, it may have been out of your hands, or you didn't have so much control over how it was presented to the world, whereas now with like Digital Lives Matter, right, you guys were able to kind of get that information out directly to people because you have your own social followings in different platforms?
I guess we could use the example of Girlfriend's Getaway. Yeah. We did a movie called Girlfriend's Getaway for a network, for TV One, about 6 years ago. And then we did a part 2, and basically it was about 4 friends that went on a vacation and in their 40s, and they cut up and was wild, and all these things happened. And it did great ratings for the television network, but we weren't in control because we made it for them, so it wasn't ours once we made it for them. So it stays there. So it still reruns on TV One, but had we been able to make that movie on our own and be able to market it how, had the funds to market it the way we would have loved to, it's Girls Trip.
It would have never been a.
You know what I mean? So that's just, that's the difference. Being able to create your own content and being able to have the funds to market your content, because yes, we can get them out now. Now we can make them. Now there's places to put them. But you got to market it. People got to know where to go find it. So I think that's the big thing for independent filmmakers now, is being able to tap into how to market things.
And making sure that as an independent filmmaker, that has to be a part of your budget. Yeah. We've done films where it wasn't a part of our budget. We did a film called Hamlet and Hutch with Burt Reynolds, and it was a movie with a girl and a dog, and we were learning about distribution at the time, but we put all our money into the film. So then when we got ready to do festivals, it's like, oh, we don't have the money to do festivals. Like, we had to come out of pocket. So I think it's just very important as an independent filmmaker, if you have a web series, if you have a short, and you want to definitely do the festivals, when you go to your funder and you go and you ask for money, make sure there is a marketing budget, whether it is as huge as billboards in Times Square, or whether it's as small as I just want to run ads on Facebook. You know what I mean? You still need some sort of marketing budget. And I definitely agree with you with, the creativity being the new currency, because people like DC Young Fly, for example. He was in Digital Lives Matter. Now he's on MTV, Wildin' Out. He's the new host of TRL. But his comedy became his career, and he started on social media, and now he's making money. You know what I mean? Based off of something that was just a creative idea online. So I think you're right on, and it's very important, but finding ways to market yourself as a writer, screenwriter, director, because sometimes we don't like to be out there. Get somebody on your team that knows something about marketing. That's it. Any other questions?
Any other questions for the room? All right, perfect. Tell us your name.
My name is Maggie Bush.
Hi,
As
Maggie.
filmmakers, is there a specific genre that you like to make? Because it seems like a lot of comedy you all are doing in that, but any other genres?
Well, I love comedy. I mean, I love comedy. Cass is more versatile in her palette. She has a sci-fi. She has, it's whatever. She has whatever.
I love good characters. So that's what motivates me. I come up with a character, and then I give them a world, but I'm not necessarily like stuck with one thing. Yeah.
But I like comedy because I really feel like comedy is healing. And I feel like, I just love giving that joy. I love laughter. I love seeing people laugh. I love hearing laughter. And I love to laugh. It's like my favorite thing to do. And besides getting a massage, too. Yeah, I love getting a massage, too. But laughter, I think laughter is healing. And I think that's why I'm always more towards comedy.
Yeah. You have a favorite?
Dramas. I love a good drama. Take you anything that can take me through a range of emotion, but mostly in the drama world. I love romantic comedies too, but I haven't been able to write one of those. So
One day. Okay.
We have a question from Miss Denise Armstrong.
Denise.
Hey, beautiful ladies.
Hi.
I have a question. Out here as an actor auditioning with feature films and series, I'm noticing that there's a lot of web series being done now. And I just wanted to get your take on that, because I find that a lot of people may lean towards that because they may not be booking the series and the features, and it's an often opportunity to show your craft, but a lot of times it's kind of disappointing. So I just wanted to know, what was your mindset? Do you have any advice in, the steps should be taken?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
okay. First of all, there are a lot of avenues. Right now, I think everyone wants to, have the Issa Rae effect. Basically starting out with Awkward Black Girl as a web series, and it, got discovered, and she's now doing things for HBO. I have my best friend is a wonderful director as well, and she has been taking that approach, and she just wrapped her first season on a web series, and she was able to find a niche market. There are a lot of niche markets out there, and there are a lot of people that are making money because they found these niche markets. And what propelled her to do it is because she was living next door to the people that are running, I think it's called Black Sexy TV. And she was just, outside one day and asking them, what do you guys do for a living? They're making money because they have all of these web series on their YouTube channel, which is Black Sexy TV, I think, yeah. And so she decided to do a web series, and it's been really good for her. She's now she raised money after her first season because she found that group of niche people that love what she does. And she would kill me if I don't mention the series. It's called Compersion, and she's approaching her second season. And she's had groups of people. It's a story about polyamory, and so she's had groups of people around the country, bring her to their town, Atlanta including, and they've raised money for her for the second season. And so there are so many opportunities out there. I have a friend who has worked his way through the whole Netflix thing. Started out with a web series. Netflix, found him, and now he's developing something for Netflix for some like $700,000 for a couple of episodes. It's just different routes with the whole web series thing.
I think when you do a web series, like I guess anything else, you need to have a particular end goal in mind. That's very important. If you're an actress and you're like, I'm not getting cast for this, so I'm going to put myself out there as this so people can see you. Or if you're as a writer, if you want people to see, okay, this is an amazing script, just have an end goal in mind as to what you want to accomplish, so then you know how you go about getting it out to the people.
And just because you came as an actress and you said you wanted to ask this question as an actress, I'm an advocate of training. It's all, you do those to continue to hone your craft, but do the ones that you want to do. All of them aren't good. So you read the material, and if it's a good part for you, do it. But if it's not, don't. Just like any other thing. But definitely, I would not shy away just because it's a web series. I would do it if it was a good part for me.
Ms. Vaughn, as far as an actor, when are we going to get another acting class from you? And Ms. Cass, as an amazing writer.
So she's trying to be slick and trying to get me to promote that I have an acting class coming up.
It is?
It is April 28th and 29th here in Atlanta, and you can go to ninaholiday.com to get information and register. Thank you, Ms. Denise.
You also can go on Nina and put in a cry for Ms. Cass to do another amazing writing seminar that she did.
I've already got my dates, Ms.
Thank you so much.
I am doing a 2-day workshop, May 18th and 19th. The link is not on Nina Holiday yet, but it will be at the very 1st of May, and you'll be able to do it. And we're also live streaming it for those who are not in Atlanta. It will be live stream and available. So 18th, 19th,
28th and 29th. But you need to go register for the acting class like now.
Like right now.
That's in like 2 weeks.
Yes. And if that's...
Any other questions?
No, got another question.
It's a good...
Behind you.
Well, there we go.
I'm Vonnie Bristow. I'm an actor and filmmaker. So I kind of have a two-part question somewhat.
No.
First question, what are some effective ways to get funding for your projects that you want to do? And secondly, which ties into that, as a writer, how do you get your projects to, say, a production company, independent producers, things of that nature?
Funding is always hard, challenging. Let me not say hard, but it is definitely challenging. The best thing I can say, there is no one way to get funding. I mean, there are people that have gotten them from athletes or just wherever. They come from business people, family members. But what I can say about funding is everybody always asks how you're going to get your money back. So as a producer, do the research. If you know you're making a web series, then you need to have the plan as to how these web series make money. If you know that you want to do a big feature theatrical film, you need to have a plan of how are you going to get your film in the theaters. How much does it cost to be in the festivals? If a film is like this, what's a comparable film? This is what it made. And then it's always important, if you can, to attach at least one person of talent if it's a big theatrical. So having a plan whenever you go to a filmmaker, don't just go to a funder and say, I got a good idea. It's very rare that things are funded on good ideas. It's just the reality of it. And then as a writer, I'm sorry. What did you ask me as a writer? I just forgot that quick.
How do you get it seen?
Oh, how do you get it seen? By, again, there is no one way. Like, just make sure as a writer, your scripts are tight. Make sure that you have done your craft and you've done your work. Don't just give just a production company just some craziness. So put it that way. Take a class or two, and not to say that you haven't, but once you do that, you really have to just start emailing and sending out. A lot of times, letters or emails go on websites and say, I've got this, I've got that. Go to maybe even if you know casting agents and you know casting agents that might know production companies, go to the right networking events. Let everybody know I'm a writer, and if you have a writer and you actually have a script, don't just say I'm a writer, you do all this to have the meeting, and then the production company's like, okay, where's your script? And then you're like, oh, I don't have a script. You know what I mean? So being prepared is probably the best way across board. And I know as passionate people, we're all guilty of it. We're not always prepared. Sometimes it's just a great idea and a dream and a passion, and you get excited and you're like, here it is. But I can honestly say a lot of times you don't get in the right room with the right people. So make sure you're always prepared, because when you are in the right room with the right people, your work will speak for itself. But we saw something today that was amazing from a young brother that was a documentary filmmaker, and we all instantly, it was so amazing. We're like, oh my God, we want to work with him. But he was ready, and he had grinded for I don't even know how long, he said. You know what I mean? So just really being prepared.
Yeah, and you want to be careful, like what you put out. Like she said, you want to make sure it represents you the best way, because that's your one shot. And if you give it and somebody reads it and it's trash, you might be excellent in a year, and they see you come across again. They'd be like, I read his script. He sucks.
That would be
you know. So just make sure, and that doesn't mean that it won't have mistakes or need rewrites, but just make sure that you're doing the best work that you can do, and that you're putting in the training and representing yourself in a way that you can be proud.
Yeah. And we have to wrap up, because
we do have to
we
wrap up.
are not on our own time. We're on the Atlanta Film Festival time. Oh, we have one. Okay, sorry. All right.
So when you coming in on the groundwork of creating something, and you're in the world that isn't your world, do you come in to attempt to get a job, or do you come in and you build from the ground up yourself? Like, you know, when you're starting something, you got to know the right approach to come in to start. So when you all started, what did that look like?
When Nina Holiday started, when Terri and Cas? Just
your
the project?
Career, just your careers in this business.
I started as a costumer. I went to school for costuming. I went to NC State, got a textile degree, went to FIT. Like, I started as a costumer. Met her on set, and I was working as a costumer, but I always wanted to be a writer. So while I was costuming on the road, I wrote my first book. Okay. That's how I met her.
And I started in this business as an actor. I started in theater with a touring play, and went on to continue to study and move to LA and just pursued it as a career after touring for like 2 years with a stage play. So that's how I got in the business, but I've always wanted to be more creative. So I always knew that I wanted to create content. So even when I was acting on those shows, I was always making sure that I had great relationships with all the producers, with the network execs when we were on set, just making sure those relationships were tight, because I knew I wanted to do something beyond just acting.
And excellence. I don't care if you are, we've got a few interns that work with us. Marin is one of them. And it's about excellence. If you are excellent, people will notice your work, because there's so many people in our business that aren't. I don't care if it's just you're carrying water. I don't care what it is. Do it in excellence, and you will get noticed.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about getting to the right person to do and B and C. Don't worry about that. Be excellent. Someone will see you.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
with that, we'll end the podcast. I just want to say, just always put in the work, guys. Everybody wants the shortcut to success and fame. There is no shortcut to success. If you want the longevity, put in the work so you're rooted and grounded in the technique that you're going forward in.
Absolutely.
And I wish you all the best.
And follow us.
And follow us on
social media. Follow us on ILGN. podcast at Nina Holiday, at Cass Siggers, at Terry J. Vaughn,
At Freckle.
Freckled one.
at the Freckle, just Freckled One. No, the?
Yeah, freckled one.
Freckled One.
And thank you for listening and joining I Look Good Naked podcast.
I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. Nothing can stop me now. I'm